They just don't photograph well, Anna. I'm thinking about our family album. My mother-in-law Diana's voice dripped with false sympathy through the phone. The Mediterranean cruise photos need to be perfect. You understand, don't you? I gripped my phone tighter, watching my daughters Emma, 12, and Sophie, 10, playing in the backyard through the kitchen window. They were practicing their soccer moves, their faces bright with joy and determination. No, Diana, I don't understand. You're uninviting my daughters from our family vacation because you don't think they're photogenic enough. Now, don't be dramatic. She sighed as if I were being unreasonable. It's just that Bella and Rose are natural models. Your girls are more athletic. Think about the family photos. We want them to be magazine-worthy. Bella and Rose, my stepdaughters from James's first marriage, were indeed photogenic. They took after their mother, a former beauty queen, with perfect blonde curls and carefully coordinated outfits. But the way Diana constantly compared them to my girls made my blood boil. The cruise tickets are already paid for, I reminded her, trying to keep my voice steady. We've been planning this for months. Emma and Sophie have been counting down the days. Oh, about that, Diana's voice took on that sickly sweet tone I'd grown to hate. I already gave their spots to my friend Margaret's daughters. They're professional child models, you know. The photos will be absolutely stunning. I stood there in shocked silence, the magnitude of her betrayal sinking in. My daughter's excitement about their first cruise, the carefully packed bags sitting by the stairs, the matching sundresses they'd chosen for formal dinners. All of it crushed by Diana's superficial cruelty. James will never agree to this, I said firmly, though doubt crept in. My husband had always struggled to stand up to his mother. James already agreed, dear. He understands the importance of family image. After all, he's running for city council next year. These photos will be perfect for his campaign. Of course, it always came back to image with Diana. Since James announced his political ambitions, she'd been obsessed with crafting the perfect family narrative. Somehow, that narrative never seemed to include my daughters. When did you discuss this with James? I demanded. Last week, at our lunch meeting. He said to tell you he's sorry, but it's for the best. The girls can stay with their father while we're gone. It's only 2 weeks. My hands trembled with anger. James had known for a week and hadn't said a word. Even now, he was letting his mother deliver the news instead of facing me himself. We'll discuss this when James gets home, I said coldly, then hung up before she could respond. I watched Emma and Sophie playing, their laughter floating through the window. How could I tell them they were being excluded from the family vacation because they weren't pretty enough for photos? The thought made me sick. My phone buzzed with a text from Diana. Don't make this difficult, Anna. The new arrangements are already made. I've attached the suggested wardrobe colors for the rest of us. Jewel tones photographed beautifully against the Mediterranean backdrop. I opened my laptop, fury driving my fingers across the keyboard as I logged into my email. There it was, the confirmation from the cruise line showing I had booked and paid for all our tickets 3 months ago. Diana might have orchestrated this scheme, but she'd forgotten one crucial detail. James came home late that evening, quietly slipping in through the garage door like a coward. I was waiting in the kitchen, travel documents spread across the table. When were you planning to tell me? I asked as he tried to sneak past. He froze, then turned slowly. Mom called you. Yes, she did. She told me you agreed to uninvite our daughters from the family cruise because they're not photogenic enough for your campaign. Anna is not like that. He ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit. Mom thinks. I don't care what your mother thinks. I cut him off. How could you agree to this without even talking to me? How could you do this to your own daughters? They're still my daughters, even if they're not. He trailed off, realizing his mistake too late. Even if they're not what, James? Not pretty enough? Not good enough for your precious family photos. That's not fair. You know how important this campaign is. Mom has experience with these things. She knows what plays well with voters. I pulled out the cruise documents, laying them on the table. Did your mother mention that I'm the one who booked and paid for this trip? That it was my bonus from work that funded this entire family vacation? His face paled slightly. She said she handled all the arrangements. Of course she did. And I'm sure she also told you she's already given our daughters spots to her friends' children. The ones who are professional child models. The sarcasm in my voice could have cut glass. Mom says it's already done. The new girls are expecting to go. He had the grace to look uncomfortable. Maybe we could plan another trip, just the four of us. Get out. What? Get out of this kitchen. Both stay in the guest room. I can't even look at you right now. After he slunk away, I sat at the kitchen table and opened my laptop again. Diana had already posted on social media about the upcoming cruise, tagging her friend Margaret and gushing about how photogenic the whole group would be. The comments were filled with excitement about the perfect family vacation. I smiled grimly as I began typing an email to the cruise line. Diana had no idea what was coming. She thought she was protecting James's political image. She was about to learn exactly what kind of woman she was dealing with. Upstairs, I could hear Emma and Sophie chatting excitedly about the cruise, planning which books to bring for reading on the deck. My heart ached, but my resolve only strengthened. Diana had messed with the wrong mother. The next morning, I called in sick to work and drove to my best friend Olivia's house. As a professional photographer, she'd understand better than anyone the absurdity of Diana's not photogenic excuse. She said, "What?" Olivia nearly spilled her coffee when I told her, "Anna, I photographed your girls. They're absolutely beautiful, especially when they're just being themselves." I pulled out my phone, showing her Diana's latest social media post. A carefully staged photo of Bella and Rose in matching outfits, captioned, "Can't wait for our Mediterranean cruise with these perfect angels. #blessed grandmother, #perfect family." "Look at the comments," I said. Olivia scrolled through the dozens of responses, her frown deepening. Diana had replied to several, dropping hints about James's political future and how some family members understand the importance of presentation better than others. "She's building a narrative," Olivia said slowly, "setting up your girls as the ones who don't fit her perfect political family image. And James is letting her. He says we can take another trip later, just the four of us." The bitterness in my voice was impossible to hide, as if that makes up for publicly humiliating our daughters. "Do the girls know yet?" I shook my head. "They're at school. I have until this afternoon to figure out how to tell them they're being excluded because their grandmother thinks they're not pretty enough for family photos." Olivia's expression shifted from sympathy to determination. "Or we could show everyone exactly what they're missing." She opened her photography portfolio on her laptop, scrolling until she found what she was looking for: a series of candid shots she'd taken at Emma's soccer championship last month. My daughter mid-kick, her face intense with concentration. Sophie cheering from the sidelines, pure joy radiating from her smile. "These are what real family moments look like," Olivia said, not Diana's staged perfection. An idea started forming in my mind. The cruise line still has me listed as the primary contact for our booking. Diana doesn't know that. "What are you thinking?" I pulled out my own laptop, logging into my email. "First, I'm going to forward you some interesting exchanges I've had with Diana over the past year. Then, I'm going to show you the real reason she's so obsessed with these cruise photos." The emails painted a clear picture: Diana's increasingly controlling behavior, her constant criticism of my daughter's appearance, her thinly veiled suggestions that they should try to be more like their stepsisters. But the real smoking gun was buried in her social media messages to her friend Margaret. "Look at this," I said, showing Olivia their private exchange. "She's planning to use these cruise photos for James's campaign without telling us. She's already promised the local newspaper an exclusive feature about the perfect political family. Without your permission to use photos of your minor children." Olivia's professional instincts kicked in. "That's not just unethical, it's illegal." "Exactly." I started typing an email to the cruise line. "And I think it's time everyone saw the real story behind Diana's perfect family facade." By the time I picked up the girls from school, everything was in motion. Emma noticed something was wrong as soon as she got in the car. "Mom, is everything okay? You look worried." I took a deep breath. "Girls, we need to talk about the cruise." "Over ice cream, because some conversations need ice cream." I told them a carefully edited version of the truth. Not that they weren't pretty enough, but that their grandmother had made different arrangements without consulting us. "But we already packed." Sophie's lower lip trembled. "I was going to show Bella and Rose how to play cards on the deck, like in the movies." "I know, sweetheart." I squeezed her hand. "But here's the thing, sometimes when people show you who they really are, you have to decide how to respond. And we're going to respond by showing them exactly what they're missing." "How?" Emma asked, her natural determination shining through. I smiled. How do you girls feel about a little photo shoot with Aunt Olivia? The next few days passed in a blur of activity, while Diana posted increasingly smug updates about the upcoming perfect family vacation. I set my own plans in motion. James continued sleeping in the guest room, making weak attempts at apologizing while still defending his mother's decisions. Mom says the girls will thank us when they're older, he tried one morning. They won't want these photos following them around when they're teenagers. I looked at him coolly. You keep saying Mom says as if that justifies everything. When are you going to start thinking for yourself? The day before the cruise, Diana hosted a bon voyage dinner at her house. I declined to attend, citing work commitments. Instead, I met with Olivia to finalize our project, a stunning photo series capturing my daughters in a natural element. Emma scoring the winning goal, Sophie performing at her piano recital, both girls laughing together in the backyard. Real moments, real beauty, real family. These are perfect, Olivia said as we reviewed the final selections. Are you sure you want to wait until they're already on the cruise? I nodded, thinking of Diana's last text. Anna, dear, do try to control your attitude about this. James needs a supportive wife right now, not someone stirring up drama. I've already announced the full cruise attendance list to my social circle. Oh, I know exactly when these need to go public, I said, scheduling the posts for the perfect moment. Let them get settled on board first. Let Diana start posting her perfectly staged photos. She's not going to know what hit her, is she? No, I smiled, looking at a particularly beautiful shot of my daughters. But she's about to learn that real family photos don't need professional models or perfect poses. They just need real love. My phone buzzed with another message from Diana. Final itinerary attached. I've arranged for a professional photographer to meet us at every port. Margaret's girls know exactly how to pose. This will be exactly the image boost James' campaign needs. I closed my laptop, a sense of calm settling over me. Diana thought she was crafting the perfect political narrative. She had no idea she was about to become the villain in a very different story. The first photos from the cruise appeared on Diana's social media exactly as I expected. Her carefully curated shots showed Bella, Rose, and Margaret's daughters posed perfectly against the Mediterranean sunset. Making memories with our beautiful family. #blessed vacation, #perfect family. I waited until they were 2 days into the cruise before making my move. First, I emailed the cruise line's corporate office, copying their legal department. The response was swift and exactly what I'd hoped for. Then, I gave Olivia the signal. She posted our photo series on her professional photography page. Real beauty, real family, a special project. The images of Emma and Sophie, caught in moments of genuine joy and achievement, were breathtaking. Each photo came with a caption explaining the real story behind it. The championships, the recitals, the everyday moments of sisterly love. But the final slide was the knockout punch. Screenshots of Diana's messages about using the cruise photos for political campaigning without parental consent, alongside her cruel comments about my daughters not being photogenic enough. This series is dedicated to every child who's been told they're not pretty enough for someone else's perfect family picture, Olivia wrote. The post went viral within hours. My phone exploded with notifications as local parents began sharing the story. How could anyone exclude these beautiful girls? What kind of grandmother does this? Isn't this the mother-in-law of that city council candidate? Diana's first panicked call came at dinner time. I let it go to voicemail. Anna, what have you done? People are attacking me online. You need to tell your friend to take those photos down immediately. Think about James's campaign. The second call came from James. Mom's hysterical. The cruise photographer just canceled on us. Says he doesn't want to be associated with this kind of discrimination. Please, can't you fix this? I texted back a single screenshot, the email from the cruise line's corporate office informing Diana that using their services to discriminate against family members violated their policies. They'd be happy to refund the entire cruise cost to me as the original booking holder. You didn't, James texted back. I did. Check your email. I'd forwarded him everything, every cruel message from his mother, every manipulative comment about our daughters, every scheming conversation with Margaret about using the cruise photos for his campaign. Those were private conversations, Diana wailed in her next voicemail. You had no right. But the real bombshell dropped when the local newspaper, the same one Diana had promised an exclusive to, ran the story instead. City council candidate's family faces backlash over alleged discrimination. James called again, his voice shaking. My campaign manager just quit. He says this kind of family drama is political suicide. Maybe you should have thought about that before letting your mother exclude your daughters for not being pretty enough for her photos. The cruise line's public statement was the final nail in the coffin. We celebrate families of all kinds and do not condone any form of discrimination. We have issued a full refund to the original booking party and extend our sincere apologies to the excluded family members. Diana's carefully crafted image was shattering. Her social circle, once so quick to praise her perfect family photos, now shared Olivia's photo series instead. These are what real family memories look like, they commented. Natural beauty over staged perfection. I gathered Emma and Sophie in our backyard that evening. How would you girls like to take our own trip? The cruise refund is more than enough for a wonderful adventure. Can we go somewhere fun? Sophie asked. Where we can just be ourselves. That's the only way I ever want you to be, I assured her. Emma hugged me tight. Thanks for standing up for us, Mom. James moved back to his mother's house the next day, still torn between defending Diana's actions and facing the consequences of his weakness. His political dreams were effectively over, at least for now. Diana's final message came through email. I hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. James's campaign is finished. My friends won't return my calls. And these horrible photos of your daughters are everywhere. Though I must admit, they do capture something special. Not that I'll ever say that publicly. I replied with just one line. Next time, remember that real family love doesn't need perfect photos, it just needs real heart. The girls and I did take our trip to a beautiful beach where they could play soccer in the sand, build messy sandcastles, and take goofy selfies without worrying about being photogenic enough. Olivia came too, capturing more genuine moments of joy and laughter. Diana still posts her perfect pose photos on social media, but her audience has dwindled. The last time I checked, her most recent picture of Bella and Rose had only 3 likes. Meanwhile, Emma's soccer team photos went viral again, this time because the girls celebrated their championship win by diving face first into a mud puddle, grinning from ear to ear with pure, unphotogenic joy. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about showing the world that real beauty doesn't need perfect staging. It just needs to be real.